CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. Hudson Mack is away tonight. Emergency responders went to great lengths to rescue a 73-year-old who fell while hiking on Mount Finlayson. Langford firefighters were called to a trail near Bear Mountain Resort around 11:30 this morning after a man hiking by himself slipped on some rocks and fell. Two off-duty View Royal firefighters stumbled across the man and cared for him until more help arrived. He suffered from a deep cut to the back of his head. 13 firefighters and 2 paramedics had to ride quads and hike to reach the injured man. They then had to put him on a stretcher and use ropes to bring him to safety.
It's extremely tough, and as in true BC fashion, we've had all aspects of weather today. We've had a little bit of snow, a little bit of hail, and lots of rain up top the hill, but the boys fought through it and efficiently got the gentleman down. Langford has a technical rope rescue team, and we put our team to use doing some low-slope rope rescue. Brought the gentleman down the hill efficiently to the trail and then packaged him up and put him in the trailer of our quad and drove him out through the golf course.
Rescue crews managed to get the man down the mountain just before 2 this afternoon. He was taken to Victoria General Hospital. BC Ferries has had a smooth start to the long weekend with no delays reported on any of the major routes. Ferries has added more than 50 extra sailings to keep up with the Easter weekend traffic, which will run right until Monday. Well, it's not quite as smooth for travelers heading into the U.S. Cars are backed up at the border with long weekend shoppers spending hours waiting to cross. The Canadian dollar is nearly at par with the U.S. dollar today. In a few months, cross-border shopping will become even more tempting, with duty-free limits being increased for both 24-hour and 48-hour visits. The U.S. Coast Guard has sunk the Japanese ghost ship, which had been drifting across the Pacific since last year's tsunami. An American Coast Guard cutter hit the derelict vessel with high explosives yesterday, quickly sending it to the ocean floor. A Canadian ship tried to salvage the 54-meter ghost ship, but was unable to tow it. The fishing boat was already designated for scrap in Japan before it drifted nearly 14,000 kilometers across the Pacific. The U.S. Coast Guard says the ship was becoming a hazard after drifting close to the Alaska coast. Well, the Easter Bunny hit the streets of Nanaimo today, but he wasn't looking to hide chocolate eggs or deliver Easter treats. The giant white bunny was keeping a close eye on drivers, looking for speeders and people using cell phones or driving dangerously. With the help of their undercover bunny, RCMP handed out more than a dozen violations. That was in just 1 hour.
My boys are saying that they have writer's cramp right now. I'm sure we're probably up to 25, 30 tickets. We've been here for about an hour and a half. A lot of people not wearing their seatbelts when they're in town. They figure when they get out on the highway at highway speeds, they have to wear their seatbelts. But we have more injuries from accidents in town at lower speeds because people aren't wearing their seatbelts. And the people on their cell phones, well, they're not paying attention to anything on the road. They're just talking on their phone and thoroughly engaged in that conversation, and they're not paying attention.
Among the people pulled over this morning was a driver accused of being impaired. Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney says increasing household debt is the #1 domestic risk to Canada's economy. Carney says the recent slowdown in the housing market is encouraging, but that raising interest rates would hurt the economy's recovery. He says if things were to get out of hand, he would be prepared to intervene. A recent Bank of Canada analysis shows that roughly 10% of Canadians are vulnerable if interest rates return to more normal levels. Carney says Canadians have never been more indebted as individuals than we are today. A southbound stretch of the Inland Island Highway just north of Courtenay was shut down today after a 7-car pileup. Police say it was a chain reaction crash. One vehicle hit another and the others followed. 2 people had to be extracted from their cars and rushed to hospital. In total, as many as 20 people were involved.
I think a sequence of events, a chain reaction with some time in between is what I've heard. That we're talking 7 cars here. I know one had 5, one had 3, so we're probably potentially upwards of 20. I think we had 6 ambulances with another 3 on the way, so 9 ambulances coming total.
Police say a short hailstorm had passed through the region just before the crash, so wet roads may have been a factor. 2 Nanaimo men are in police custody tonight after a fast food restaurant was broken into last Christmas Eve. Police say a large amount of cash was stolen from the till. Officers arrested 20-year-old Damien Wagner and Ryan Verhoeks last night. Both are members of the Canadian Forces. Police say the pair are facing charges including break and enter and theft over $5,000. Well, a memorial that was set up for two young boys killed in a car accident south of Nanaimo has disappeared. It was established to remember Cooper and Lucas Beckers. The boys were killed in a crash near Cassidy Corner in 2008 when their mother lost control of the family's SUV on an icy stretch of highway. People in the area say the cross setup for the boys was first vandalized and then taken away altogether, along with other memorials.
At the time, I spoke to the Becker family, and they were not responsible. They said that they had no idea what was going on. And then yesterday, I was driving up the highway, and I saw that the girls' roadside memorial was not there. So I came back and found out that both of the roadside memorials were gone. And for anybody to go ahead and just take them away and destroy them, I'm not going to say what I'm really thinking, but I would say it's very disgraceful.
Dixon says he will be setting up another memorial to remember the boys, and he hopes that whoever damaged and then stole the first one will respect the second. Hundreds of people laced up in Nanaimo today for a memorial run in honor of Gavin Fletcher. Fletcher was killed in 2006 in a car accident on the Malahat. The Times columnist sports reporter was commuting from his work in Victoria to his home in Nanaimo when he died. His family and friends remember him every year with the annual Fletcher's Challenge.
I think he'd be proud and really happy that everybody came. And
you know, the race has evolved and gotten bigger, and it just brought some new energy this year. So very excited. Couldn't have done it without the volunteers, the trail racers, the families, Gavin's legacy, and the help of Runners of Compassion.
Fletcher was a popular member of the Runners of Compassion Club in Nanaimo. This year's Fletcher's Challenge raised $5,000 for the club. The money will go to help children in need participate in extracurricular activities.